What's up, guys? Yesterday, the Resident Evil 3 Remake Nemesis trailer came out, and damn, was it awesome. Yesterday was a really busy day for me, and it came out right before I had to get into, the things that I had to do. So I had to quickly watch it, and then of course I watched it a few more times, and yeah, it was amazing. So unfortunately, I couldn't put out yesterday my, reaction, my analysis on the trailer, and that's what this is today. I just want to say Capcom is doing a phenomenal job with this game so far from what it seems. Like I said previously, I think that Resident Evil 2 Remake is a modern day masterpiece. It really blended, this new style of Resident Evil that 4 introduced, but blended the horror elements from the classic games so damn well in a way that I didn't think was possible. And I'm glad that while it didn't win Game of the Year, it was nominated. That's a pretty big feat for Resident Evil. It's been quite a while. I think Resident Evil 4 was the last one. Regardless, this game looks amazing, and I'm pretty sure they're going to put their heart and soul into this game the way they did with the remake of Resident Evil 2 and the remake of Resident Evil 1 way back in 2002. Yeah, this looks crazy. Obviously, Nemesis, the star of this trailer. That's why it's named after him. And, they weren't lying when they said that Mr. X was essentially the prototype, the demo AI for what Nemesis would be capable of. And if you play the original Resident Evil 2 and the original Resident Evil 3, you would know that it's a night and day difference. Mr. X was only in the B games in the original Resident Evil 2, and he was in only specific selected scripted areas. And obviously, with how the limitations of, the system was and what they were able to do, when you went through a room, it had to load into another. There was, not really any way at the time to have it seamless until, of course, what they did with Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, how Nemesis could chase you. And I'm assuming they got the idea from probably Mr. X and, trying to make it even of a bigger deal, a bigger utilization of the AI, and that's why Nemesis is so crazy in the original, because of the fact that even though he comes out at specific scripted times, such as the police station or the clock tower, he still can be unscripted in the sense of where he follows you, where he doesn't follow you, where he ends up appearing. Will he appear in a room that you've left a ton of enemies in? He'll still attack you. He'll punch the zombies and stuff, which is pretty funny, but that's what made Nemesis so crazy, because he was so damn strong, so damn fast, and he had the ability to follow you anywhere. And they've already said that because Raccoon City is going to be a bigger area, it's not going to be an open world game, obviously, but it's a bigger, more open area than the mansion in the first game or the RPD in the second game, that Nemesis is going to be able to pretty much follow you anywhere, that it won't really be so much scripted as it's going to be random. And the original Resident Evil 3 is Resident Evil 3 in general is no surprise to RNG, which is, basically random events, because that game was full of it. And I have no doubt in my mind that the remake will be the same way. But he looks amazing, his design looks fantastic, from images and from the trailer that we got. So yeah, I also made a video compiling all of the high definition images, because some were not in the trailer. So go check that out as well. I'll have a playlist in the description below, in the pinned comment as well. You see that he has a rocket launcher, and he also has a flamethrower, which is brand new. So he's gonna have multiple weapons. He's probably still gonna be able to punch you. He's probably still gonna be able to grab you. And he was already utilizing his tentacles in his original form, because if you're familiar with the original Resident Evil 3, spoilers for those who haven't played the original Resident Evil 3, once you get to the clock tower and you have that that scripted fight where Jill gets infected and you beat him, whatever, he gets put on fire, he basically becomes a second form. He's able to use his tentacles and attack with them, as opposed to having the rocket launcher or whatever. He essentially loses the rocket launcher at that point. And depending the choice you pick when you're on the train, you make the decision to either jump out the window or pull the emergency brake. You can prompt to have that Nemesis at that fight right there, fight with the tentacles, as opposed to fighting with the rocket launcher, which is the harder fight. considering he has more reach. But you already see him using the tentacles here, even though he's got his flamethrower and whatnot. So it leads me to believe that he's able probably to use it to attack you, and I'm curious on the reach of that. He's a lot more intimidating so far, just from this trailer. His design is top-notch. I'm extremely scared to see what he's going to be like, especially for S run or S plus runs. If you're trying to go through the game, getting S plus, I have no doubt in my mind they're going to have some kind of unlockable for getting S plus, whether it's infinite ammo or a gun or something, or speed runs, of course. Because Mr. X could mess you up in that same regard, but it wasn't as bad as what this is most likely going to be, or even in the originals for that fact. So yeah, Nemesis looks amazing. Jill's design, we got to see obviously more of Jill, more of Carlos. I think Carlos, seeing it now, I seem to like it more. Their whole philosophy on the idea of their designs in this game was to have them, have more of a rough look to them, more of a look of like going through stuff, and I didn't really explain that too well. I forgot the specific words that they use. I wanted to use the words that they use, but more like a gritty look. And to be honest, I'm okay with it. Carlos has lost his accent, and I don't really think that's a problem. Like, I don't really care, as long as he's a good character, and he's going to be getting more story in this game. So that's cool, as we already see some gameplay of him here. In the original, he goes to the hospital where he does fight the hunters. And we also get a first glimpse of the hunter, not in just that small little teaser, but we actually see it slightly in gameplay form. They're huge, and I have no doubt they're going to be total hell to deal with, because, well, they've always been worse in my opinion than lickers have ever been. So when people get afraid of lickers, I'm like, you don't know until you deal with the hunters. So hunters look fantastic. Nemesis looks great. Jill looks beautiful. Carlos, I've come to like more as I've gone on. I think the cover art doesn't really do him justice, and I know that a lot of you are probably still not a fan of his design. I think it's going to be something that grows on you more, if at all. Personally, for me, I'm okay with it. I'm starting to like it more from this trailer. I'm not really bothered by it. I think it's fine. I think when I play the game, I'll enjoy it even more. It's probably something I won't even really care too much about at some point. Jill was the more important thing for me, and Jill looks amazing. So as long as Jill looks great, she's the best Resident Evil character in my opinion. As long as she looks great, I'm okay. As long as Nemesis looks great, I'm okay. I'm curious to see, again, just how he's going to be as you go further in the game. They do show what looks like, again, the glimpses of the beginning, what's probably going to be the beginning of the game, which is him chasing you through Jill's apartment building, which is where you see him tossing Jill while the building's on fire, because that's what we got when we saw the initial trailer reveal for this game when it got announced. But we saw it in a first-person, kind of in-game cutscene. So maybe we'll actually get it in gameplay form, and maybe that was just made as a teaser. Who knows? What gets me is the new locations that we see so far in this trailer. We see Jill obviously going through the streets. I'm sure there's going to be more street city part areas, which that's awesome. We see a subway station, which seems to actually have some significance. We see other survivors, as well as, Jill and Carlos and Mikhail and Nikolai all interacting there. More cutscenes, and that's cool. We see a construction building, or just a building. It looks like a construction building to me. A building being worked on or whatever, some scaffolding. And this looks like, when you see at the top, nearly at the end of the trailer, Nemesis jumping on, Jill getting up there and then Nemesis jumping after her. That looks like a boss battle right there, like a boss battle that you have to do. Curious to see how many Nemesis fights you can or don't have to do. Also, for those who've played Umbrella Chronicles, it's kind of funny that they've got a highway part with Jill driving now, because Umbrella Chronicles has a scenario for Resident Evil 3, which I always thought was funny, because it felt more like a scenario for Resident Evil Outbreak than it did Resident Evil 3. I mean, hell, you didn't go into any significant areas from Resident Evil 3. And it ended with you fighting Nemesis in the RPD. It ended that way. Which happens if you know what you're doing within the first 10 minutes of the game. You don't go to the clock tower in Umbrella Chronicles. You don't go to the laboratory. You don't go to the Raccoon City Park. You don't go to the hospital. You don't go to any of the significant areas. And they even used assets from Resident Evil Outbreak in that game. So to me, that was more of an Outbreak scenario. But the reason why I'm mentioning it is there is a part where you go there, you know, you play as Jill or Carlos, you go there and you're on a highway, and it's this ridiculous thing that there's a bunch of mines that you could step on and all this stuff. But it's funny how there actually is a highway on this. You know, obviously in the trailer, the part where you see Jill driving into Nemesis, and the fact that she doesn't have Carlos with her, and she crashes into him, but he gets up first. I mean, I'm not surprised by that. The whole point of this trailer is to make him look extremely intimidating, as we all remember him, as we all know him as, but he just looks so much worse. I'm curious how this is. I'm just really, really interested in how the battles with Nemesis are going to play out. He will mess with you when you're probably still going to be dealing with other enemies such as zombies and hunters. I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, it's going to be insane. Also, I'm going to make another video about this. Most likely make another video about this, about some of the more connections to Resident Evil 2 Remake, or Resident Evil 2 rather. We actually see, so we saw a glimpse of this before, but we see more of a glimpse of it now. So, I'm going to mention this briefly because I said I'm probably going to make another video about this. We see Carlos heading into the RPD. Now, the fascinating thing is, well, you know, Resident Evil 3, parts of the events take place prior to Resident Evil 2. We see him heading into the RPD. Now, what's really weird is the door, the way that he comes through is blocked off in Resident Evil 2. So maybe we'll see how that happens, because it's not blocked off here. They just openly go through it and right into the front of the RPD. And that's most likely going to be a playable scenario, because they did confirm that we are getting even more playable story sections for Carlos. So that's going to most likely be more than just the hospital. I'm sure the hospital's still going to happen, because that's an integral part of Resident Evil 3. But I could see us playing the scenario of the RPD prior to, you know, to Resident Evil, to what happens in Resident Evil 2. My thing is, how far can we go in the RPD? How much are we going to see? Are we going to see Marvin? Are we going to see Rita? Are we finally going to see Rita's redesign? Because Rita was there, and she knew about the using the 3 metals, you know, and that's her whole thing in Outbreak File 2, is she knew that there was an exit down there under the statue. And that's something that they incorporated into the remake, which I love. That's a nod to Outbreak File 2, which is cool. And we also see Carlos in, and I confirm this 100%. It doesn't take any, you know, rocket science to figure this out. The room that they're in is the STARS room. In RE3, the original, Nemesis, oh my god, Jill receives a call from Carlos after you get the lockpick and you're leaving. So I'm wondering if Jill's even gonna go now to the RPD. Is that something that solely is just gonna happen with Carlos now? Because he already knows Jill at this point. He contacts her in this trailer. So maybe he's gonna contact her to go to him there, or maybe she doesn't go there at all. That's the thing that I really want to know, because connections to other Resident Evil games are some of the most fascinating things to me. I love in video games when you go to locations that appear in others and you get to see either events before or after, what transpired, and, you know, if there's any little Easter eggs or references. And the fact that we are seeing the RPD, and I'm most certain that we're going to go into it, I want to know what caused all that destruction. My money is still on Nemesis, or maybe now it's something that Carlos did, that he had to fight in his way. Who knows? That's a lot of destruction for just that. I know a lot of people also think that it's just stuff that may have happened in the RPD. Who knows? Like I said, Capcom is a big fan of teasing things, and they did tease a lot of a lot of the destruction images, like the images of like the walls being broken. They said like, oh, who do you think did this? And this is well after Resident Evil 2 Remake came out. So to me, they were teasing for Resident Evil 3 way in advance, which I definitely picked up on. But that's pretty much what we get from this trailer. Like I said, things really, dealing with Jill and Nemesis, seeing more narrative stuff for Carlos. We got the glimpse of the hunter. We got a little bit of glimpse of Jill shooting with the shotgun, Carlos shooting with the assault rifle. It just, I cannot wait for April 3rd. I'm extremely excited. I accidentally bumped the mic. I apologize. I'm extremely excited. And the whole thing is, we are getting Resistance as well. And I want to play Resistance. I want to play it with you guys. I want to, cover that game and play that game extensively as well. There's just so much in this package. We also know that Mercenaries is not going to be in this game, which is a huge bummer in my opinion. I really liked Mercenaries mode a lot, and I think they could have improved upon it from the original. So it sucks to know it's completely removed. I hope that they have some other mode for this game, the way that they had the Ghost Survivors in Resident Evil 2. It'd be cool if they added free content in this game as well, maybe more costumes for Jill. We already know that if you pre-order the game, you get her classic costume, so I want to know if maybe beating the game, you can unlock her Resident Evil 1 outfit, or maybe her Resident Evil 5 outfit. Why not? Like, why limit yourself? More costumes, the better. Resident Evil 2, with the Deluxe Edition, had a bunch of costumes for both characters, but so far the only costume that we know confirmed is for pre-ordering the game, any version of it, and you get the classic outfits for both Jill and Carlos. So I hope there's unlockable outfits, I hope there's unlockable guns, and I hope that they add maybe a free mode that's similar, maybe Mercenaries in a free update, maybe it's not initially there, or they add something similar to the Ghost Survivors, because the more content the better. I think they handled the content in RE2 Remake so well, and I hope they repeat the same. Like I said, they are including Resident Evil Resistance, so that's something to keep in mind, because that is essentially a whole second separate game with no additional costs. So we'll have to see as time goes on, but yeah, this has already been going on for a while, so I hope you guys enjoy this. What do you think of Nemesis, his design, his gameplay? What do you think he's going to be like? What do you think the boss battles are going to be like? What do you think of Jill, Carlos's design, the hunter, actually seeing it a bit in action? I'm just ecstatic. What do you think about the new story parts? What do you think's going to happen? What are your thoughts? What's your speculation? I'm very curious. I'll definitely read it in the comments below. Let me know, and like I said, I'll probably make another video showing more connections to RE2, RE3 to RE2, and vice versa. We'll see. Either way, let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.